Well, thank you very much. This has been an honor. It was a fairly long trip, but worth it. Tremendous things have been accomplished, as you probably noticed. Listened to a lot of wonderful speeches from the heads of a lot of wonderful countries. But I want to thank you for joining us at the conclusion of a highly productive NATO summit in the Netherlands. I want to thank them for the royal treatment they've given us. Couldn't have been nicer. And it's a beautiful country.
What's up, Bob?
Really a beautiful country. Coming in, I saw the most beautiful trees. In fact, I want to bring some back with me. I want to also thank, I had breakfast this morning with the King and Queen, and they're incredible people. I said, you're central casting. Beautiful people, great
Trump
people.
speaks to NATO, guys.
Big, beautiful heart. And I enjoyed that. And also, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, who's been terrific. He's been a friend of mine. Used to be right here running this wonderful country. Now he's the NATO Secretary General. He's doing a fantastic job. And the Prime Minister, we appreciate everything you've done. And as you know, last weekend, the United States successfully carried out a massive precision strike on Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities, and it was very, very successful. It was called obliteration. No other military on earth could have done it.
What's up,
and now this incredible exercise of American strength has paved the way for peace with a historic ceasefire agreement late Monday, and we call it the 12-day war. Spoke to a few people. I guess that just sounded like the right, name. It was a 12-day war. And we think it's over. I don't think they're going to be going back at each other. I don't think so. Not only have we dealt decisively with the critical threat of Iran's nuclear program, which was what I wanted. I said, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I've said that for 15 years, long before I decided to do the political thing. But we've also reasserted the credibility of American deterrence, which is like no other. The people at NATO said there's never been anything. You know, I rebuilt the entire military during my first term. And we have a great military. We have great generals. I got to know the good ones and the bad ones. We kept the good ones. Over the past 2 days, I was honored to participate in the NATO leaders meeting and also had extremely good individual discussions with the King and the Queen, Secretary General Rutte, and the Prime Minister. Great discussions. Very knowledgeable people. Major focus of our conversations at the summit was the need for other NATO members to take up the burden of the defense of Europe. And that includes the financial burden. As you know, it was 2%.
What's up, Great 59?
We got it up to 5%. And they said, a couple of them came up to me. One in particular said, sir, we've been trying to get it up to 3% for 20 years, and we haven't been able, and you got it up to 5%. So they're going to be, most of them, I guess almost all of them, are going to be contributing now 5%, a number that people are surprised at, but you need it today. The United States accounts for 2/3 of all NATO defense spending. Since I began pushing for additional commitments in 2017, believe it or not, our allies have increased spending by $700 billion. I said to people, you don't have any money, and a lot of them weren't paying. And so I started the process, and I picked it up as soon as I got back, which is 6 months ago.
Trump speaks to NATO,
and following my election last November, almost all have accelerated plans to reach the 2%, 3%, 4%, and then ultimately, very quickly, 5%. And all of this is going to be done very quickly, almost immediately. You probably know this as well as I do. I'm sure they've been talking about it. It's really been a big focus. In a very historic milestone this week, the NATO allies committed to dramatically increase their defense spending to that 5% of GDP, something that no one really thought possible. And they said, you did it, sir, you did it. Well, I don't know if I did it, but I think I did. This will be known as the Hague Defense
Continue to work on that like button, double tap that screen, get the likes up.
When the allies reach this number, it will add more than $1 trillion a year. Think of that, $1 trillion per year to our common defense. And this is a monument really to victory, but it's a monumental win for the United States, because we were carrying much more than our fair share. It was quite unfair, actually. But this is a big win for Europe and for actually Western civilization. For years, past administrations failed to get most allies to contribute even the 2%. I remember when I came here, we had 4 countries that were up to 2%, and I remember Poland was there. A couple of them were there, and but most of them were. We had 28 at the time, as you know. It's increased a little bit, and they've agreed now to more than double their budgets in all cases. And Europe stepping up to take more responsibility for its security will help prevent future disasters like the horrible situation with Russia and Ukraine, and hopefully we're going to get that solved. Last week they lost 7,000 soldiers.
Don't forget he dropped the F-bomb yesterday. You know what I'm saying? When talking about Israel and Iran. Now he's talking to NATO, guys. Get the likes up. Double tap that screen.
Mostly soldiers, but they're also getting hit in Kiev. They're getting hit in some of the towns also. And that means life. Life is disappearing also in the cities and towns. Should have never happened, would have never happened if I was president. I said it 1,000 times. And it never did happen. It's never even thought about. But it's vital that this additional money be spent on very serious military hardware, not bureaucracy. And hopefully that hardware is going to be made in America, because we have the best hardware in the world. You saw that, where 14 missiles were shot at us the other day. And they were very nice. They gave us warning. They said, we're going to shoot them. Is 1 o'clock okay?
Now he's talking about Iran firing those missiles at us.
They said, it's fine. And everybody was emptied off the base, so they couldn't get hurt except for the gunners. They call them the gunners. And out of 14 high-end missiles that were shot at the base in Qatar, all 14, as you know, were shot down by our...
They shot 14 missiles at the U.S. military base in Qatar. That's crazy. But we intercepted them all.
Weapon. Amazing stuff. Amazing that they can do. It's like shooting a bullet with a bullet. It's the same thing if you think about it. 14 out of 14, and they weren't even that surprised. I said, do you do that well often? They say, we pretty much do, sir. The Ukraine crisis has also highlighted the urgency of rebuilding our defense industrial base, both in the United States and among the allied nations. We cannot afford to be dependent on foreign adversaries for critical minerals. And as you know, we made a deal with Ukraine to take a vast amount of the land they have for minerals. We need it. And once again, I want to thank all of the people in the Netherlands, incredible people. It's a great place. And all of the NATO allies for the tremendous summit that we just had. A letter just came in, and a statement came in from the Atomic Energy Commission of Israel. And I just wanted, this is an official letter, and they're very serious people, as you know. The devastating U.S. strike on Fordo destroyed the site's critical infrastructure and rendered
this letter is from Israel, guys.
Totally inoperable. It was devastated. We assessed that the American strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities has set back Iran's ability to develop nuclear weapons for many years to come. This achievement can continue indefinitely if Iran does not get access to nuclear material, which it won't. It's so sad that whole thing had to go. But I just want to thank our pilots. You know, they were maligned and treated very bad, demeaned by fake news CNN, which is back there, believe it or not, wasting time, wasting it. Nobody's watching.
They call CNN fake news, said ain't nobody watching them.
So they're just wasting a lot of time, wasting my time. And the New York Times, they put out a story that, well, maybe they were hit, but it wasn't bad. Well, it was so bad that they ended the war. It ended the war. Somebody said in a certain way that it was so devastating, actually. If you look at Hiroshima, if you look at Nagasaki, you know, that ended a war too. This ended a war in a different way, but it was so devastating. Also, they have out of
Trump
Dubai,
shooting slugs up there.
just came that Iran's foreign ministry spokesman, this is Iran's foreign ministry, says its nuclear installations were very badly damaged by the American strike. So What bothered me about these reports were fake reports put out by the New York Times, failing, I call it the failing New York Times because it's doing terribly. Without me, it would be doing no business at all. But
The failing New York Times and CNN is fake news, according to Trump.
And by fake news, CNN and MSDNC, all of these terrible people, you know, they have no credibility. You know, when I started, they were at 94% credibility, the media. Now it's at 16%. And I'm very proud of it because I've exposed it for what it is. But when
listen, he said what he
when
said.
I saw them starting to question the caliber of the attack, was it bad? Well, it was really bad. It was devastating. They were obliterated. In fact, you can't get into the tunnels. They just put that over. That just came out. They can't. There's nothing. There's no way you can even get down. The whole thing is collapsed in a disaster. And I think all of the nuclear stuff is down there because it's very hard to remove. And we did it very quickly. When they heard we were coming, it was, you know, you can't move it. Very hard, very dangerous actually to move to. And they also knew we were coming, so I don't think too many people want to be down there knowing we're coming. With the bunker busters, as we call them, we're the only ones that have them. We have the best equipment, best nuclear equipment, and we have the best equipment in the world. And by the way, we can't forget our submarine, which was out there, submarines actually, but submarine was out there. We shot 30 rockets into an area, every single one of them. I think it was almost 400 miles away, I think, Pete, right? 400? And
so not only did we have the B-2s, we also had submarines as well. I reported on that the other day, man. It's crazy, y'all. Let's continue.
It was in the ocean, long ways away. And we shot a total of 30. Every single one of them hit within 9 inches from where it was supposed to be. It took out a lot because we didn't do just 4, though. We did 2 others in addition.
Now he's saying he took out a lot. Remember, the news was reporting that we didn't do much, but Trump says they're lying and we took out a lot.
Which hadn't been completely destroyed, so we hit them with a submarine from hundreds of miles away. Amazing, just amazing equipment. Greatest submarines in the world. Nobody's even close. They're 20 years behind us when it comes to submarine technology. So that's one, and the other was from the Atomic Energy Commission, and they have about 3 or 4 of them now coming in from Atomic Energy Commissions from various places. But the one that we have that just came out, we released it a little while ago, was from the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission. But numerous of them are getting to see the site, and the site has been demolished. And again, we had these brave patriots, these incredible flyers.
Let's work on that like button. Don't tap that screen if you're on a mobile device to click the 3 dots. Hit the thumbs up. That's how you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. President Trump addressing NATO.
People that can fly a plane better than anybody can fly a plane, going into very hostile territory, flying into the territory that has got more missiles and things pointed at it. But it was very stealth. They didn't get to see it. It was dark. That's the amazing thing about the shots. They hit the shots perfectly, and yet it was dead dark. There was no moon. There was no light. It was virtually moonless. It was very dark, and the shots were hit perfectly. But when they get demeaned, and they were very upset about it because they knew how strong it would be. Back in Missouri, the pilots flew about 36 hours, 2 ways. Far distance.
Somebody said the wannabe hero. Let's
B-2s.
go.
And we then had the F-22s, and we had the F-35s, and we had other planes, and we had, I think, a total of 52 tankers. That means the big tankers, because the refueling was a lot for all of the different planes that we sent. Incredible operation, and I have to say, General Raisin Kane was incredible. That's why he beat ISIS, and we beat ISIS in a matter of weeks. I was told it would take 4 to 5 years. We did it in a few weeks. And he was great. That's why he's the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff right now, because I had a very good experience with him. He knocked out ISIS in a period of literally a few weeks. Amazing. And it was supposed to take a few years, 5 years to be exact. So we had a great victory there, and we then came here, and I think we had a great victory here. But this is an ongoing project. This is the safety of Europe, the safety of the world. and they've raised it from 2% to 5%, something which nobody, and you're talking about over $1 trillion a year. So we're talking about a lot of money coming in from countries that we're not paying nearly enough to be effective. So I have, as you know, Marco Rubio with me, and Pete Hegseth, Secretary of State and Secretary of War. Should we say Secretary? You know, it used to be called Secretary of War. Maybe for a couple of weeks we'll call it that, because we feel like warriors. It used to be called Secretary of War. In fact, if you look at the old building next to the White House, you can see where it used to be Secretary of War. Then we became politically correct, and they called it Secretary of Defense. I don't know, maybe we'll have to start thinking about changing it, but we feel that way. Do we have any questions, please? Wow. That's a lot of questions. Who's a nice person? Oh, you're not a nice person, but I'll let you ask one. Go ahead. What's he going to ask? He is not nice at all. I know him well.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time before flying home. You just said you believe the conflict between Israel and Iran is over. What makes you so confident it is? And what do you do if it isn't?
Because I dealt with both, and they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently, and they were both satisfied to go home and get out. And can it start again? I guess someday it can. It could maybe start soon. I think a big telltale sign was when, as you know, Iran somewhat, but not much, violated the ceasefire, and Israel had the planes going out that morning, and there were a lot of them, 52 of them. And I said, you got to get them back. And they brought them back. They didn't do anything. They brought them back. It was very good. I thought it was amazing, actually. They have fought a hell of a war. They fought very hard. I think the war ended, actually, when we hit the various nuclear sites with the planes. And I just hope you people can give these pilots, these are the best pilots in the world. They're the best shots in the world. They call them shots. That's what they are. And wait a minute. And I just hope you can give them the respect they deserve, because they came home to fake news. And like, oh, gee, there was hardly any damage. The things are decimated. So
once again, he calls it fake news about things not being damaged. Continue to work on that like button, man. Can we get 100 on the like? Shout out to everybody in the building.
But I think they're very much finished. I think Israel's going to get back to doing what they do, and I think that Iran's going to get back. You know, Iran has a huge advantage. They have great oil, and they can do things. I don't see them getting back involved in the nuclear business anymore. I think they've had it. They've been at it for 20 years, and I don't see that happening either. Now, if it does, we're always there. It won't be me. It'll be somebody else, but we're there. We'll have to do something about it. Yes, please, go ahead. Go ahead.
What's up, 713?
Oh, fake news CNN?
Said fake news
yeah. Here we go. Wait till you hear this question.
He's steady throwing shots.
You should really say how great our soldiers and our warriors are.
I think everyone appreciates our soldiers and our warriors. I do have two questions for you, Mr. President. You just cited Israeli intelligence on these attacks. Earlier, you said U.S. intelligence was inconclusive. Are you relying on Israeli intelligence for your assessment of the impact of the strikes? No,
this is also Iran made the statement. And it's also, if you read the document that was given, that we can talk about if you'd like. The document said it could be very severe damage, but they didn't take that. They said it could be limited or it could be very severe. They really didn't know, other than to say it could be limited or it could be very, very severe. And you didn't choose to put that because it was very early after. Since then, we've collected additional intelligence. We've also spoken to people who have seen the site, and the site is obliterated. And we think everything nuclear is down.
So who we believing? Are we believing Trump or the news? Trump said it was completely obliterated. The news says we don't know how much damage we caused.
They didn't take it out. Okay, question? Please, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, blue dress.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Yesterday, you said China can now continue to purchase oil from Iran.
Yeah.
Are you giving up on your maximum pressure campaign? Because
With
there's
who?
sanctions right now.
With who?
On Iran.
No, look, they just had a war. The war was fought. They fought it bravely. I'm not giving up. They're in the oil business. I mean, I could stop it.
I don't know who to believe. They all
China the oil
lie.
myself. I don't want to do that. They're going to need money to put that country back into shape. We want to see that happen.
Somebody else said Trump a liar.
No, if they're going to sell oil, they're going to sell oil. We're not taking over the oil. We could have, you know. I used to say with Iraq, keep the oil. I could say it here too. We could have kept the oil. No, China is going to want to buy oil. They can buy it from us. They can buy it from other people. But you're going to have to put that country back into shape. It desperately needs money. Yeah. Yeah, please.
Trump answered a lot of questions, guys.
Here we go. I'm picking the beauties today. Go ahead.
Mr. President, Secretary General Rutte has described President Putin as an adversary, a threat, an enemy. Do you view him the same way? And in addition to that, you mentioned General Kane, your chief of staff.
Please take time to double tap your screen, guys. That's how you hit the like button, or you can hit the 3 dots, hit the thumbs up. Let's get the likes up. Shout out to everybody in the building as Trump addresses NATO in the public, guys, about the situation in Israel and Iran and why we chose to get involved.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
General Kane.
Yes, he has said that Mr. Putin has territorial ambitions beyond Ukraine. Do you view that in the same way?
Possible. I mean, it's possible. I know one thing, he'd like to settle. He'd like to get out of this thing. It's a mess for him. He called the other day. He said, can I help you with Iran? I said, no, you can help me with Russia. Because, you know, in the last few weeks, we took care of India and Pakistan, Kosovo, Serbia. I think on Friday we're
Trump, why you need help with Russia when Putin is your homeboy?
coming in. The Congo is coming in, and Rwanda is coming in. That was a vicious war that went on, a machete war, heads chopped off all over Africa. They're coming in. We did 2 others in addition to that. Nobody's ever done anything like this. No, I consider him a person that's, I think, been misguided. I'm very surprised, actually. I thought we would have had that settled easy. I've settled 4 of them in the meantime. But he did call up and he said, you know, he's close to Iran. He'd like to help us get a settlement. I said, no, you help me get a settlement with you, with Russia. And I think we're going to be doing that too. Yeah, please. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've made clear your position on what impact the strikes had. I wanted to ask you what is next with Iran. For instance, is there any indication from U.S. intelligence that Iran was able to move any material?
No, we just the opposite. We think we hit them so hard and so fast they didn't get to move. And if you knew about that material, it's very hard and very dangerous to move. It's called, in many people they call it dust, but it's very, very heavy. It's very, very hard to move. And they were way down, you know, they're 30 stories down. They're literally 30, 35 stories down underground.
A lot of people are saying Trump is lying, man. Y'all think he lying? How many think he lying? How many think he's telling the truth?
Oh yeah, we think it's covered with granite, concrete, and steel.
Can I ask you, are you interested in restarting negotiations with Iran? And if so, have they received?
So our people, Marco could answer this, but our people are not, I'm not. The way I look at it, they fought, the war's done.
Somebody said King Trump
I
never
could get
lied.
a statement that they're not going to go nuclear. We're probably going to ask for that, but they're not going to be doing it. But they're not going to be doing it anyway. They've had it. They've had it. Now, maybe someday in the future we'll want that. But I've asked Marco, do you want to draw, I just asked him the question as we were walking on the stage, do you want to draw up a little agreement for them to sign? Because I think we can get them to sign it. I don't think it's necessary. Marco, do you want to talk about that, please?
Well, Mr. President, I think President Trump has shown a willingness to meet and talk to anybody in the world who's interested in peace. I don't know of any president that's been as willing as he has to meet with anyone and talk about peace. We'd love to have peaceful relations with any country in the world. And so obviously that'll depend on Iran's willingness not just to engage in peace, but to negotiate directly with the United States, not through some third country or fourth country process. But I know of no president, probably in our modern history, that's sought peace more than President Trump has.
Sounds like the door is open, but you're in no rush. Is that right? Sounds like the door is open.
I'll tell you what, look, we're going to talk to them next week with Iran. We may sign.
Yeah,
an
President
agreement. I
Trump
don't
took
know.
a lot
To me, I
of
don't think it's that
questions, guys.
necessary. I mean,
Maybe
they
to
had a war,
answer
they
some of
fought, now they're
y'all's.
going back to their world. I don't care if I have an agreement or not. The only thing we'd be asking for is what we were asking for before about, we want no nuclear, but we destroyed the nuclear. In other words, it's destroyed. I said, Iran will not have nuclear. Well, we blew it up. It's blown up to kingdom come. And so I don't feel very strongly about
Trump
it.
say he blew it up, the kingdom come. Let's go, Trump.
And if we got a document, wouldn't be bad. We're going to meet with them, actually. We're going to meet with them. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Mr. President, Netherlands TV, thank you for visiting our country.
Good.
As I
Thank you.
understood, I, of course, like to know how you slept last night at the House of the King.
Oh, I slept beautifully.
But probably a more serious question. I think you just had a meeting with President Zelensky. Did you discuss any ceasefire in this Russo-Ukrainian?
No, I wanted to know how he's doing. He was very nice, actually. You know, we had little rough times sometimes. He was, couldn't have been nicer. I think he'd like to see an end to this. I do. I think what I took from the meeting couldn't have been nicer, actually. But I took from the meeting that he'd like to see it end. I think it's a great time to end it. I'm going to speak to Vladimir Putin, see if we can get it ended. But look, these are brave people. They're fighting.
Continue to work on that like button, guys. Double tap that screen.
Last week they had, I guess, I told you, close to 7,000 young soldiers, Russian and Ukrainian soldiers were killed. 7,000 in 1 week. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I'll be speaking to Putin. No, I had a good meeting with Zelensky. And I had a lot of
You know you'll be speaking with Putin. That's your homeboy.
We had a lot of good meetings with a lot of people, a lot of great leaders. But he's fighting a brave battle. It's a tough battle. Yeah. Go ahead, white dress.
Thank you. Ida Hallikainen from Finland, Ilta-Sanomat.
Good.
You have played golf with President Alexander Stubb. How do you see Finland as a NATO ally and partner, and how would you describe your relationship with our president?
Well, he's a very good golfer. Okay. In fact, he was on his college golf team. He went to a good college in the South, as you know, a very
What's
good
up,
college,
Al?
and he was a good golfer. We had a good time.
Thank
I
you
think
for
my
the gift. Stop
relationship's
looking
great. I
this.
want to buy icebreakers. You know, you're very good at icebreakers. And I actually made him an offer. I didn't go to Congress. They'll try and impeach me for this. But there's an old, it's not old, it's fairly new, but it's used icebreaker. And I offered him about 1/3 of what he asked for. But we're negotiating. We need icebreakers in the U.S. And if we can get some inexpensively, I'd like to do that. Actually, they'll fix it up, make it good. Also, we may buy some icebreakers. You know,
How many of y'all think what Trump did was a great decision on striking Iran? A lot of people are against that, man, but it's some that's for. How many we have in here that was for the strike against Iran? And why is she making googly eyes at Trump?
King of icebreakers, that particular country. They make them good. They make them really good, and they know what they're doing. And so we're negotiating with them for about 15 different icebreakers, but one of them is available now. It's old,
one against.
and it's old. It's like 5-6 years old. Now we're trying to buy it. I'm trying to make a good deal. That's all I do my whole life. My whole life, that's all I do is make deals. Yeah, please. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I'll say mountains in Iran became
Yeah, question
scattered.
for NewsHour, Dutch TV. First of all,
I see a
on
bunch of
Article
fours.
5, on your way here,
Let me
you
know.
spoke about the commitment of the US to Article 5, saying, I'll give you my definition once we're here. What is your definition, and may the US commitment to Article 5 change in
I
case
see a
some
bunch
of the
of
NATO
against.
members do not reach the threshold that was
I'll make
discussed
a
today?
poll.
My second question is following up on the colleague on Iran. What intel reports do say that everything over there was obliterated?
Yeah, well, there are numerous of those reports, and they're coming out fast and furious. But the most respected ones we've already seen. And I will say that on a very confidential basis, they're looking at the reports, like numerous reports, and including people going to the site and checking the site. And they're going to be having, I guess you're going to be having over the next couple of days a full, you're going to encapsulate it. But no, the site was obliterated, just like I said it was. And just like the pilots should be given credit for. As far as Article 5, look, when I came here, because it was something I'm supposed to be doing, but I left here a little bit differently. I said, I watched the heads of these countries get up, and the love and the passion that they showed for their country was unbelievable. I've never seen quite anything like it. They want to protect their country, and they need the United States. And without the United States, it's not going to be the same. And you can ask Mark, or you can ask any of the people that were there. It was really moving to see it. They loved their country. They were so respectful of me because I'm the head of the United States. And I made, the King of Saudi Arabia, when I was in...
It looked like we got somebody from Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, or some of that. I see somebody typing with a bunch of squiggly lines. Keep an eye on the moderators.
I was in the Middle East, so I was in Qatar for a different reason, not a reason to get shot at. We were in there for economic development reasons, Qatar, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. All three leaders of those countries, and we took back $5.1 trillion into the United States. All three leaders said, you're presiding over the hottest country in the world. The United States right now is the hottest country. Everybody wants to be there. Everybody wants a piece of it. He said,
I like the way the poll moving. Let's get the likes moving just like the poll. When you vote, double tap that screen or click those three dots, hit that thumbs up. It helps out the channel.
A year ago, your country was dead. You had a deadhead running it. You had a country that was dead, and it was dead. You had people pouring through the borders. You had inflation. You had everything. He said, you've made it in 5 months at that time. You've made it the hottest country. This is the hottest country in the world. The United States right now is the hottest country in the world. And when I was around that table, it was a nice group of people, many of whom I knew from previous. When I saw the passion they had for the country, almost everyone, and you probably have the
Thomas Bell said, if Trump mouth moved, he lying.
It was very public, but almost every one of them said, thank God for the United States. Without the United States, they couldn't really have NATO. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. It will in the future because now they're paying much more money, but it wouldn't work. It was great. And I left here differently. I left here saying that these people really love their countries. It's not a ripoff.
Alexis said, you crazy. Trump is the best.
And we're here to help them protect their country. Okay, we'll do one or two more.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
A question on Spain. Are you satisfied with today?
Oh, I think Spain's terrible what they've done. No, I do. They're the only country that won't pay the full up. They want to stay at 2%. I think it's terrible. And they're doing very well. The economy is very well. And that economy could be blown right out of the water with something bad happening. Spain is the only country that, are you from Spain?
Yeah.
Good, congratulations. You're the only country that is not paying. I don't know what the problem is. I think it's too bad. So we'll make it up. You know what we're going to do? We're negotiating with Spain on a trade deal. We're going to make them pay twice as much. And I'm actually serious about that. We're going to make Spain, I like Spain. I have so many people from Spain that it's a great place and they're great people. But Spain is the only country out of all of the countries that refuses to pay. And, so they want a little bit of a free ride. But they'll have to pay it back to us on trade because I'm not going to let that happen. It's unfair. It's unfair to NATO. All right, sir, please. Go ahead, right in the back. Yeah, you, tall one. The tall man.
Mr. President, Johannes Petra from Austrian National Television.
How are you?
You once said that you would end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. You later said that sarcastically.
Well, of course it was sarcastic.
But you've now been in office for 5 months and
He said,
5
of course
days.
it was sarcastic.
Why have you not been able to end the Ukraine war?
Because it's more difficult than people would have any idea. Vladimir Putin has been more difficult. Frankly, I had some problems with Zelensky. You may have read about him. And it's been more difficult than other wars. I mean, look, we just ended a war in 12 days that was simmering for 30 years, frankly. We ended Rwanda and the Congo. It's coming to sign the documents. We've already signed basic documents, but they're coming, I think, to the White House on Friday. We ended, Serbia was going to go at it. But maybe the most important of all, India and Pakistan. And that wasn't whether or not they may someday have nukes like we're talking about in the Middle East, like we're talking about with Israel and Iran. This is they have nuclear weapons. I ended that with a series of phone calls on trade. I said, look, if you're going to go fighting each other, it was getting very bad. You know how bad that last attack was. It was really bad. If you're going to go fighting each other, we're not doing any trade deal. No, you have to do a trade deal. I said, we're not doing any trade deal.
Continue to get
And
those
in fact,
likes
I had
up,
the
guys.
general, who was very impressive.
Please click the 3 dots, hit that thumbs up. That's how you hit the like button, guys, to help out the channel. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. This is President Trump addressing NATO about Israel, Iran, and the strikes that we made against Iran. A lot of people are saying that Trump didn't disable their nuclear sites, but Trump says that's hogwash, and they are reporting fake news.
The general from Pakistan was in my office last week. You know, Prime Minister Modi is a great friend of mine. He's a great gentleman. He's a great man. And I got them to reason. I said, we're not doing a trade deal if you're going to fight. And if you're going to fight each other, we're not doing a trade deal. And you know what? They said, no, I want to do the trade deal. We stopped the nuclear war. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff. Here's another beauty, Jeff. He's a beauty, all right. Go ahead.
Mr. President, to follow up on Ukraine, will the United States contribute any more money to Ukraine's defense this year to the $5 billion that allies are giving? And one question, you had another meeting with the Dutch opposition leader, Mr. Wilders. Can you tell us about that meeting? And are you upset about his anti-Muslim stance?
I'm not upset about it. It's just his view. He's unhappy with the way things are going in this country and various countries. He was an opposition leader. And I was asked to meet with the opposition leader by the people that are running. I think they have some deal where if you have a meeting, you're supposed to meet with an opposition leader. I said, that's strange. That's that. But I met. I didn't know him. He seemed like a very nice guy, but he's in opposition to the current people, and that was set up by the current people. So I assume when I met with the prime minister, you're supposed to meet with the opposition. We'll have to try that sometime in our country. Let's not do
Somebody said don't give no more money to Ukraine.
But he was, I thought he was very good. As far as money going, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of spirit. Look, Vladimir Putin really has to end that war. People are dying at levels that people haven't seen before for a long time. Go ahead. Go ahead. White shirt. Oh, she's all excited.
So, BBC News Ukrainian.
Where are you from?
I'm from Ukraine.
Oh.
So my question to you is whether or not the US is ready to sell anti-air missile systems Patriot to Ukraine. We know that Russia has been pounding Ukraine really heavily right now.
Are you living yourself now in Ukraine?
My husband is there.
Well,
and
I can see you very, it's amazing.
And me with the kids, I'm in Warsaw actually, because he wanted me to be.
Is your husband a soldier? No?
He's
there now?
Yeah.
Well, that's
We 30 likes from 300, guys. Double tap that screen.
Here?
In Warsaw.
And you're a reporter?
What's up, Mr.
I
Leader?
am.
Good. So let me just tell you, they do want to have the missiles, okay, as they call them, the Patriots. And we're going to see if we can make some available. They're very hard to get. We need them too. We were supplying them to Israel, and they're very effective, 100% effective. Hard to believe how effective. And they do want that more than any other thing, as you probably know. That's a very good question, and I wish you a lot of luck. I mean, I can see it's very upsetting to you. So say hello to your husband, okay? Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. You were criticizing...
Where are you from?
Bloomberg News.
Oh, Bloomberg. That's wonderful.
You were criticizing the Federal Reserve Chair before coming to this summit.
Yeah, I think he's terrible.
I was wondering if you've begun interviewing different candidates for the Fed pick.
Yeah, I know within 3 or 4 people who I'm going to pick. I mean, he goes up pretty soon, fortunately, because I think he's terrible. We have no inflation. We have a tremendous economy. Hundreds of billions of dollars of tariff money is pouring in. Factories are being built because they don't want to pay the tariffs, so they're building them all over the country. I think we're close to $15 trillion. I told you 5.1 trillion from the Middle East alone, but of investment money coming in. There's never been anything like that in the history of our country. But we have no inflation. And we have borrowing, because Biden, stupidly, they did short-term debt. So we have borrowing coming up. And, we'll go 10 years, maybe longer, maybe shorter, but we'll go a long period of time when we do the debt. And because of him, because of this guy, we will have to pay for years. We'll be paying for him. And I said to him, listen, there's no inflation. He says, but maybe there'll be some. And that's true. I said, if there is some, what you do is raise the rate. I'm okay with that. You raise the rate in 2 years from now or a year from now. But because the rate's high, we have to pay more for debt. It's pretty equal. In other words, if it's 4%, it's 4%. If you drop it a point, you'll pay 3%. So it's fairly equal. Not necessarily, but fairly equal. So we're going to end up paying maybe 2 points or 3 points more. 3 points would be about $900 billion a year because of this very average mentally person. He's an average mentally person. I'd say low in terms of what he does, low. Low IQ for what he does, okay? Wait, so instead of paying $900 billion, we don't want to pay 900 just because he doesn't want to lower the rate. I said, if there's inflation in 2 years or 3 years or 1 year from now, you raise the rate, you take care of the inflation, among other things. But he's probably a very political guy, I guess. I don't know. I think he's a very stupid person, actually. All right, one more, and let's go. How about you? Go ahead. She looks so happy and everything.
Thank you.
That's why I
I'm
picked
from
her.
Spain too. I'm Ana Bu from La Vanguardia. I wanted to know if
You're where from?
Spain.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if you want to.
That's the Spain corner right there. Shouldn't have said that. That's okay. I do like Spain, by the way. I think it's unfair that they're not paying, but go ahead.
Are you going to negotiate directly with Spain about?
I'm going to negotiate directly with Spain. I'm going to do it myself. They're going to pay. They'll pay more money this way. You should tell them to go back and pay. You're a reporter? You tell them to go back. They ought to join all of those countries that are paying 5%. Spain's going to be just about the only one that's not. They were the most hostile toward doing it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Okay, all right, Kelly, go ahead. Here we go. Here's another one.
Thank you very
We
much.
got them all today.
Okay. So, Mr. President, you talked about expecting some on-the-ground assessments at Fordo and other sites.
Now, here-
Is that
here again.
Israeli and U.S.?
It's been obliterated, Kelly.
If you would like to voice your opinion, you most definitely can call in to the show. Most definitely keep your comments respectful and no cursing, guys. But most definitely hit that phone line we putting in the chat if you want your opinion to be heard.
What is your message then, sir, to the intelligence community when they present reports? You're not disputing the DIA report. You're just
They presented a
exists.
report that wasn't finished. We're talking about something that took place 3 days ago.
I understand that's
The report was done
So
2
what
days
is
ago.
your-
Wait a minute.
Yes.
They didn't see it. All they can do is take a guess. Now, if you take a look at the pictures, if you take a look how it's all blackened, the fire and brimstone is all underground because it's granite and it's all underground. You don't show it. But even there, with all of that being said, the whole area for 75 yards around the hole where it hit is black with fire. The group that's run by this gentleman, in fact, you may want to talk about it for a second because we're going to issue a report. And I think it's not even a very exciting report at this point. It's been obliterated, totally obliterated. And they did a report, but it was like, if you look at the dates, it's just a few days after it
Understood,
happened.
sir.
So they didn't see it. They said it may be very severe. Go ahead.
Understood. Do you have a message for the intelligence community, though, in terms of unvarnished information getting to you, that it's not...
I don't really have a message. I would say issue the report when you know what happened. I wouldn't say that it could be severe or maybe not. They use the word severe. It could be severe or maybe it's not. So people like you picked up and said, oh, it's not severe. No, the report was not a complete report. Yeah, the message was probably wait till you know the answer before you...
And sir, did you not have a public component to your Zelensky meeting for a tactical reason
this
with
is,
President Putin?
Vice President
Hello,
Vance.
Mr. Secretary.
Yeah.
there's a reason the president calls out fake news for what it is. These pilots, these refuelers, these fighters, these air defenders, the skill and the courage it took to go into enemy territory flying 36 hours on behalf of the American people.
They continue to call it fake news, guys, about America basically not obliterating Iran's nuclear technology. Trump them says that that's not true. We most definitely took it out. The phone lines are open. You can most definitely call in, voice your opinion. What do you think about this whole situation? Let me know by hitting that call-in number.
World to take out a nuclear program is beyond what anyone in this audience can fathom. And then the instinct of CNN, the instinct of the New York Times is to try to find a way to spin it for their own political reasons, to try to hurt President Trump or our country. They don't care what the troops think. They don't care what the world thinks. They want to spin it to try to make him look bad based on a leak. Of course, we've all seen plenty of leakers. And what do leakers do? They have agendas. And what do? Do they share the whole information or just the part that they want to introduce? And when they introduce that preliminary report that's deemed to be a low assessment, you know what a low assessment means? Low confidence in the data in that report. And why is there low confidence? Because all of the evidence of what was just bombed by 12 30,000-pound bombs is buried under a mountain, devastated and obliterated. So if you want to make an assessment of what happened at Fordo, you better get a big shovel and go really deep, because Iran's nuclear program is obliterated. And somebody somewhere...
They said it's obliterated. Boy, they is standing on it's obliterated. I'm just saying, the news said not so much, but the president and his team is saying it's absolutely obliterated.
Trying to leak something to say, oh, with low confidence, we think maybe it's moderate. Those that drop the bombs precisely in the right place know exactly what happened when that exploded. And you know who else knows? Iran. That's why they came to the table right away, because their nuclear capabilities have been set back beyond what they thought were possible because of the courage of a commander-in-chief who led our troops, despite what the fake news wants to say.
But you're not disputing the report said what it said, even though it was initial.
The report said what it said, and it was fine. It was severe, they think, but they had no idea. They shouldn't have issued a report until they did, but we've gotten the information, and I think Pete said it better than you can say it. And you know,
thank you for that
gift. You, especially you, should be proud of those pilots, and you shouldn't be trying to demean them.
No,
those pilots flew at great risk, a big chance that they'd never come back home and see their husbands or their wives. Let me just tell you, you and NBC fake news, which is one of the worst, and CNN.
So Trump them is taking shots at the news, guys. They are disappointed in what the news reported, said that a lot of those pilots may not have made it home to their families, you know, and for them to go on there and say that we didn't do what we said we did was a great injustice for the American people and for America, period. That's crazy, y'all. What do y'all think? I'm telling you, I see a bunch of y'all got opinions in the chat, but that phone line ain't rung yet. Let me know what you thinking. Speak out.
New York Times, they're all bad. They're sick. There's something wrong with them. But you know what? You should be praising those people instead of trying to find some. By trying to go and get me, you're hurting those people. They were devastated. You know, I got a call from Missouri, great state, that I won 3 times by a lot. And I got a call that the pilots and the people on the plane were devastated because they were trying to minimize the attack. And they all said it was hit. But we don't think it was really maybe hit that badly. And they were devastated. They put their lives on the line, and then they have, and I'm not referring to you, but real scum come out and write reports that are as negative as they could possibly be. It should be the opposite. You should make them heroes and heroines. You should make them really people that they were so devastated when they heard this news. And you know what they said? One of them, I spoke to one of them, said, "Sir, we hid the site. It was perfect. It was dead on." Because they don't understand fake news, because they have a normal life, except they have to fly very big, very fast planes. But it's a shame. You should be making them heroes. All right, in the back. Go ahead, back, white, yeah. White jacket, yeah. Go ahead, give my mic. Hello.
Deborah Haynes from Sky News. Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies?
He called you daddy. Let's go.
Me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No? He did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Do you regard your NATO allies, though, as kind of like children, and they're obviously listening to you and they're spending more, and you're obviously appreciative of that, but do you...
Trump got some Diddy stuff going on, allegedly, talking about he called him daddy. Wow.
Hope that actually they're going to be able to defend themselves, defend Europe on their own, without...
I think they need help a little bit at the beginning, and I think they'll be able to, and I think they're going to remember this day. And this was a big day for NATO. You know, this was a very big day. They took it. One of the gentlemen said, you know what? We've been trying to raise the rate for 30 years, he said, 20 years, from almost the beginning. And he's been there for a long time. He said, until you came along, it never happened. What you did is amazing. It's been sort of an amazing day for a lot of reasons, but also for that. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think they can do it without you, though, in the future? Can they do it without...
Well, ask Mark. I mean, you have to ask Mark, okay? So we're heading back. I want to thank these two gentlemen behind me. They're incredible people, both of them. They've done a fantastic job. And Susie's in the front, and she's done great. And Monica, thank you very much. That was quite an exciting time. And we're going to be heading back. We'll be back soon, and we'll see you in Washington, D.C. Remember this, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Trump said we got the hottest country anywhere in the world. All right, and he also gave some more remarks, guys. Hold on while I pull that up. Get the likes up. Trump most definitely gave more remarks after his speech. Let's go here.
They have very big things to announce today. I don't know if you've taken the vote or you're going to take the vote, but I've been asking them to go up to 5% for a number of years, and they're going up to 5%. That's a big, from 2%. And a lot of people didn't even pay the 2%. So I think it's going to be very big news. NATO is going to become very strong with us, and I appreciate doing it. Perhaps you want to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me first, before I go to spending, I just want to recognize your decisive action on Iran.
Thank you.
You're a man of strength, but you're also a man of peace. And the fact that you are now also successful in getting this ceasefire done between Israel and Iran, I really want to commend you for that.
Thank you.
And I think this is important for the whole world. Then on spending, it's absolutely true. I want to state here, without President Trump, this would not have happened. In 3 stages. When you became president in 2016, 2017, you forced...
So here Trump is speaking with he speaks with NATO Security General. She's speaking to the general of NATO. Let's go.
Europeans and Canadians to pay more. At this moment, the result of that phase is $1 trillion extra aggregate defense spending by the Canadians and the Europeans. Then came phase 2, when you became president in January last year. Phase 2 is that all the countries not yet on 2% have now committed to the 2%. This is the old goal from Wales in 2014. 7 were not on 2%. Some were
Joe Black said Trump gangster. Let's talk about it.
Somewhere in the 2030s, now this year, all of them, including Canada, including Italy, including Belgium, they have all now committed to the 2%. And now comes the big splash. Today, we will decide to go to 5%. We have to keep ourselves safe from our adversaries, but also because it is fair to equalize with the United States. With this 5%, the Europeans and the Canadians will equalize their defense spending with the United States. So this is not about American taxpayers paying more. This is about Europeans, Canadians paying more. And again, this would not have happened. I'm really saying this here, and some people might criticize me, but then when I speak with them, they all say, yes, you're right. This would not have happened if you would not have been elected in 2016. And re-elected last year and back into office in January. So I want to thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great victory for everybody, I think. And we will be equalized very shortly, and that's the way it has to be. And it's going to be a lot of money, too, a lot of defense.
Trillions extra.
Yeah, and we have a great relationship, and we've had a great relationship from the beginning. Highly respected man. And, yeah, we appreciate you being here, too, everybody. We really do. We have a tremendous group of people on my left and a tremendous group of people on my right. They might be even better than my people. I don't know. Let's have a fight. Let's figure it out. Anyway, but we appreciate it. And we've had a tremendous relationship, Mark and I. And we've really worked on this subject for a long time. When Biden was here, it just died like everything else died. And now it's, you're going to take, I guess, a vote today, right?
Absolutely. Today we will decide unanimously to do it. That's my absolute conviction.
So we can't talk about it until the vote's taken, because sometimes, strange things happen to us, but I think you're going to
I'm not too worried.
I think you're going to do very well. Everyone's very happy about it. Go ahead, yes.
Mr. President, how is the Iran-Israel ceasefire going, in your opinion?
I think very good. Israel came back yesterday. I was so proud of them because they came back. They went out because they felt there was a violation. And technically they were.
Trump says he thinks that the ceasefire is going well, even though they continue to fire, and he got a little upset yesterday. His overall opinion is he thinks it's going well.
All right, but it just wouldn't have worked out very well. And they brought the planes back. They had gone on to another journey because there was a little bit of a violation. And I said, you got to get them back. And they came back, and it was a great thing. And it's going very well.
Mr. President, what is your response to the foreign minister saying he still wants to enrich nuclear?
I don't know, Katie. She's so great, this one. Any question she asks, I'll answer. Well, maybe I better not say that. What was your question?
What is your response to the Iranian foreign minister continuing to say Iran will enrich uranium and pursue nuclear weapons?
Well, I don't know if they've said that, but I'll tell you, the last thing they want to do is enrich anything right now. They want to recover. And we won't let that happen. Number one, militarily we won't. I think we'll end up having somewhat of a relationship with Iran. I see it. Look, I've had a relationship over the last 4 days. They agreed to the ceasefire. And it was a very equal agreement. They both said, that's enough. They both said it. But no, they won't do that. The last thing they want to do, Katie, is enrich. They're not looking to, can you imagine after all of that, they're going to say, oh, let's go and do a bomb. There could be a day in the future where, and then somebody else taking our place will be saying, don't do it. And maybe they won't do it as well. I don't know. But they're not going to have a bomb, and they're not going to enrich. And we believe all of
So there are live protests going on right now against everything Trump had to say at NATO, guys. Y'all see it say live protest to me. Yeah, they're protesting over there right now about what Trump had to say at the NATO meeting.
Stuff is down there. We don't think they had nearly the time, because to get that out is a very difficult thing. It's not like moving a package or taking this carpet up and moving it. It's very difficult. It's very dangerous to do. We believe it's all down there. We had a tremendous victory, a tremendous hit, and because of that, I don't think they would have been down there, because they knew we were coming. When they know we're coming, they're not going to be down in that 30 stories underground. So no, I think it was just a tremendous victory for everybody, including Iran. Look, they've got a country. And they've got oil.
He said it was a victory for Iran as well. He said it was a total victory for everybody. Wow, Trump.
And they're very smart people, and they can come back. Israel got hit very hard, especially the last couple of days. Israel was hit really hard. Those ballistic missiles, boy, they took out a lot of buildings. And they've been great. Bibi Netanyahu should be very proud of himself. And they've really been great. But they're not going to be building bombs for a long time.
Mr. President, what's your reaction to the intelligence reports saying that the Iranian nuclear sites were only partially devastated, not entirely?
Yeah, well, they said it was actually, the report said it could have been they don't know. I mean, they did a report. I could have Pete talk to it because his department did the report. They really don't know. I think Israel's going to be telling us very soon, because Bibi is going to have people involved in that whole situation. We hear it was obliteration. It was a virtual obliteration. When you take a look at the ground above, don't forget the flame is all underground. But everything above, if you look at the before and the after picture, everything above is burned black. The trees, everything. There's one building, but that's a building that sunk substantially into the granite, so that, the fire goes right over it. I believe it was total obliteration. I believe they didn't have a chance to get anything.
Once again, he doubles down on the total obliteration of their nuclear sites, guys. Even though the news said one thing, Trump said something completely different.
Yeah, because we acted fast. If it would have taken 2 weeks maybe, but it's very hard to remove that kind of material. Very hard and very dangerous for them to remove it. Plus, they knew we were coming. And if they know we're coming, they're not going to be down there. There aren't too many people that are going to be down there. Pete, do you have something to say about that?
Well, Mr. President, when you talk to the people who built the bombs, understand what those bombs can do, and deliver those bombs, they landed precisely where they were supposed to. So it was a flawless mission.
Flawless.
Right down where we knew they needed to enter. And given the 30,000 pounds of explosives and capability of those munitions, it was devastation underneath Fordo. And the amount of munitions, 6 per location, any assessment that tells you it was something otherwise is speculating with other motives. And we know that because when you actually look at the report, by the way, it was a top secret report, it was preliminary, it was low confidence, all right? So this is you make assessments based on what you know. They
and
don't,
it said it could be very devastating, very serious.
Moderate to severe, and we believe far more likely severe and obliterated. So this is a political motive here.
Is there a leak investigation?
Of course, we're doing a leak investigation with the FBI right now because this information is for internal purposes, battle damage assessment.
Oh, wow, they're doing a leak investigation with the FBI right now about who leaked this information about what actually was hit in Iran. Oh, my goodness.
And CNN and others are trying to spin it to make the president look bad when this was an overwhelming success.
We had a tremendous success, and this is the New York Times. I call it the failing New York Times. It's going to hell. And CNN, which, as you know, very few people are watching. And you would think they'd do the opposite. You would think they'd want to say, this was an unbelievable success. And the thing that hurts me is it's really demeaning to the pilots and the people that put that whole thing together, the generals. That was a perfect operation. And when you look at the holes, and this was done from 52,000 feet, there was no moon, there was no light, and those 3 holes are right together. And also, and nobody talks about this, we shot 30 Tomahawks from submarines. In particular, one submarine, but that was 400 miles away.
If you want to talk about it, most definitely call in to the show, man. Let your opinion be heard about what you think. The call-in number is in the chat. The phone lines are open.
And every one of those Tomahawks hit within a foot of where they were supposed to hit. Took out a lot of buildings that Israel wasn't able to get. We took them out with Tomahawks. We don't even talk about that. This was a devastating attack, and it knocked them for a loop. And you know, if it didn't, they wouldn't have settled. If they had won, if we didn't take it out, they wouldn't have settled. Somebody mentioned that to me last night. If that thing wasn't devastated, they would have never settled.
What's up,
No, first of all this stuff about the intelligence, this is what a leaker is telling you the intelligence says. That's the game these people play. They read it, and then they go out and characterize it the way they want it characterized, and they're leakers. This is the game they play. So that's number one. Number two, here's a fact. The conversion facility, which you can't do a nuclear weapon without a conversion facility. We can't even find where it is, where it used to be on the map. You can't even find where it used to be because the whole thing is just blackened out. It's gone.
It's wiped out.
It's wiped out. Then we dropped 12 of the strongest bombs on the planet right down the hole in 2 places. Everything underneath that mountain is in bad shape. And I refer you to the statement of the IAEA, Mr. Grossi. You know what he said? He said there was Iran, the way it looked the day before the attack, and what their nuclear program looks like now. 2 very different things. They are way behind where they were just 7 days ago. Now, anything in the world can be rebuilt. But now we know where it is, and if they try to rebuild it, we'll have options there as well. But all this leaker stuff, these leakers are professional stabbers. That's what they are. They go out and they read this stuff, and then they tell you what it says against the law, but they characterize it for you in a way that's absolutely false. There's no way Iran comes to the table if somehow nothing had happened. This was complete and total obliteration. They're in bad shape. They are way behind today compared to where they were just 7 days ago because of what the president did.
Marco, can I just alert you to one other aspect? So the great thing is you took out the nuclear capability of Iran. This was crucial. You did it in a way which is extremely impressive. But the signal sends to the rest of the world that this president, when it comes to it, yes, he's a man of peace, but if necessary, he is willing to use strength, the enormous strength of the American military. So I think that signal to the rest of the world, this is far beyond Iran, is extremely important. So let me also point us to that aspect of what happens.
They went down, Iran went down to the site afterwards. They said it's so devastated, and they settled when they saw what we did to it. And frankly, if we didn't do that, they would have had a lot of ammunition to keep going. They wouldn't have settled. Somebody brought that up, and 2 Iranians went down to see it, and they called back and they said, this place is gone. So it's just fake news by CNN, which has got no ratings. It's a failed network. Anybody here from...
Wow, once again, he called CNN a fake news network. Their ratings are way down, and nobody watches them. Trump say he got all the slugs.
CNN, by the way, because you're really disgraceful network. MSNBC, I think, is actually worse. But they're all pretty bad. But yours is good, Katie, I'll tell you.
Mr. President,
You know what Marco reminded me of? He did such a nice job there. It was 9 years ago I had to debate this guy. It was not easy. I think he even got better. But when you were into your little thing, I said, this is when I had to debate this guy. You think it's easy to debate? It's not easy.
how long do you think that the Iranian nuclear program has been put back by these strikes? Years or totally obliterated?
I think basically decades, because I don't think they'll ever do it again. I just don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to take their oil, they're going to have some missiles, and they'll have some defense. I think they've had it. I mean, they just went through hell. I think they've had it. The last thing they want to do is enrich. They've been trying to do it. By the way, it's hard to enrich. And, you know, when you look at a site like that, very, very hard to build. Very, very hard, very expensive. They spent trillions of dollars trying to do this thing, and they didn't come up with it. And we're actually getting along with them very well right now. But had we not succeeded with that hit ended the war. That hit ended the war. I don't want to use an example of Hiroshima. I don't want to use an example of Nagasaki.
Now he's talking about what America did to Japan. Hold on, we might have a call in. What's up, what's up?
What's up, it's PhD. I was watching your show there.
Already, what's up with it? Talk to me.
Well, the GPU, she's tiny. Don't let these people fool you. 9 months ago, I knew we was going to be doing this, so I started building what I call the Hand of God 26B. For the 26 billion joules of power is inert. Inert is with sand.
Okay.
So this thing with sand is equivalent to 5 of our 1.2 nuclear megaton warhead.
Yeah, let me turn this music down for you.
11 MK-23 nuclear warheads inside of it, each one being 10 times what we dropped on the Japanese.
Okay.
That one missile set 110 times greater than what the Japs saw.
Wow.
Okay. Now this thing has a 10 by 10 square mile radius. If it's used as the MODE missile, which is an airburst ordnance. And instead of hitting about 200 feet, it'll hit about 1,200 feet. You know, all through concrete. That whole mass is a concrete mass, like a rock shelf, right?
Okay.
And, if it's still there, we'll just hit it again.
Just gonna keep bombarding it.
Well, the problem, I told them that the math wouldn't equate at the depths of what it is and the rock shell. And really what they did is they're just making it harder for our other thing to get through. Because think of it like this. Say you punch a hole, like piercing an ear, right?
Yeah.
You pierce the ear with a surgical needle, so there's an actual chunk missing instead of it just getting pushed aside, right?
Okay.
Now normally it would try to reach about 200 feet through rock and concrete and then have a time fuse delay to blow up inside the corridor. But let's say you did that inside. Now think of like a mine. Now if you remove what shoring in a mine is, all the wood that like keeps the stuff from collapsing on you.
Okay.
Think of that like the concrete. And think of the bunker as like a mine. Because it's really the same principle, right?
Right.
All that shoring, if it comes down, it starts acting like reinforced rubble, which is actually quite hard to get through, probably harder than the rock, right?
Okay.
Now the other thing is, what accessibility do they have? Did you just make a giant coffin for people? Most mines, if they collapse and there's people in there, they give up around 18 days.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of people have absolutely no idea what they're discussing.
They just, you feel like they just talking.
Brilliant minds. What was that, sir?
I say you just feel like they just doing a bunch of talking.
Well, we have brilliant minds at DARPA. We have brilliant minds at the DOD, at the Program Executive Office. We have think tanks that are private. You know, I'm a private think tank. I conceptualized it 9 months ago. The bigger HOT 26B. And these things are made out of recycled materials. Now, here's an idea. On the 27, on the 57, we bought 20.
Yeah.
We only did a purchase of 20. If we just drop 14, that means we have 6.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to be rearming everything in a completely different capacity. Those planes are from 1981. They got put into production in the late 89.
Wow.
So when China's like, look at our brand new plane, it's brand new. Ours is 40 years old.
Wow. Yeah, I see you've been.
A new one too.
I see you've been all over the top of this. I'm with you. I'm listening.
Oh yes. I was a military brat. I'm 40 years old. I spent an entire lifetime learning about the armament systems of our capabilities.
Okay.
And now I actually design weapons. You know, the problem is we only have one airplane large enough to carry my baby. There is no plane in the United States military arsenal capable of lifting this.
Yeah.
There's a plane called the Strato Launch. That's the company. It's called the ROC. R-O-C.
Okay.
It's 2 747s coupled together. Okay. Taking that idea, we're going to do the same thing, but on larger military craft to get even more lift. And that's going to be the initial, and I designed it to fit in the super heavy SpaceX rocket.
Oh, wow.
That's the only thing that can carry this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
When people compare a normal rocket to something that we would use here in the next year or two, the GBU is a 23-year-old GBU. Okay? Even the GBU we use is 2 decades old.
Yeah. So you saying we basically using primitive technology. We basically need to upgrade.
We're keeping the upgrades, and we will use the things that have shelf life.
Yeah.
Expose the shelf life. Just like we give equipment to like Ukraine, Israel, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We give them old equipment to build new surplus.
Okay.
The new surplus, the reason we didn't originally, the DOD did not want to build this 9 months ago, because it would touch Cheyenne Mountain. Okay?
Okay.
Cheyenne Mountain is the most secured nuclear facility on the planet. If it can touch that, no bunker is safe. Okay?
Wow.
So don't let these people sit there and talk nonsense, because they have not a clue. I talked to the Strategic Research, or the Air Force Strategic Research Center, so many different DOD apparati are well informed on other options if we didn't succeed.
That's wild. Okay, so let me ask you this. How do you feel about the U.S. basically entering the situation with our Israel and Iran? Do you think it was our place to basically go over there and do what we did?
Okay, I would go back to 20 years ago.
Okay.
When everybody made the claim that there was no weapons of mass destruction, they all forgot that there was a war that Iraq participated in. They took everything to Kuwait. We told them we would do nothing. Okay?
Okay.
They went, they attacked Kuwait. They used Syria as like a satellite, kind of like Belarus to Russia or Lebanon to Iran today, right?
Yeah.
Now doing that, they hid the weapons of mass destruction, and you saw them used.
Yeah.
The whole world saw the chemical weapons that Assad used. Iraqis had.
Oh, wow.
Now, just because you moved the weapons to a different location, we did not go to war with Pakistan. Where was Osama?
In Afghanistan, right?
In Pakistan.
Oh, he was in Pakistan. Okay.
Power.
Okay.
Okay. Like now, I want you to understand this. We went and we closed the Pakistanis airport and took it as our own over this maneuver. We told them they're not allowed to access their own fucking airports.
Okay.
Because we don't trust them.
I understand. I'm listening.
So knowing these things, now let me ask you, have you ever seen the movie Stargate?
I haven't watched it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay. It's an old movie from when I was a young man.
Okay.
We travel through space. We take a bomb, a nuclear warhead over there. The dude's like, I refined it with a whole bunch of my minerals and I sent it back. If you smack all those chemicals with something that would make them critical to chain react, and you don't know how much chemical is in the facility, what would happen?
You the expert. You tell me.
Bad shit, right?
Okay.
So using a nuclear warhead on a nuclear facility is kind of out of the question because you will create a chain reaction.
Okay.
So everything has to be almost inert. Okay? Inert means non-explosive in nature.
Okay.
It still has tons of explosive energy, but it doesn't have enough explosive energy to make that chemical, that uranium, that plutonium, to what's called go critical mass. That's what a nuclear warhead is. If you hit a nuclear warhead into a basket of nuclear material, essentially you're increasing the amount of material that the nuclear has to eat, right?
Right.
And if you don't know how much the material there is, you sure as hell don't hit it. Now, if they're like, we moved it, good. We don't want you refining it. Nobody said you're not allowed to have it. Nobody said you're not allowed to do it up to 30%. You went double those, so you're 2/3 of the way to weapon-grade plutonium. They could take that, say, to Russia, to China, to Korea, and have it refined in a matter of weeks. Okay?
Okay.
They have all of the capabilities to actually launch the things. Let me explain. In Korea, the battleship, the like Iowa-class battleships, when you look at Chernobyl, do you see death, destruction, 1,000 years of chaos, or do you see everything mutated to a massive size and lush and green? And in that interaction, we've actually discovered funguses that eat nuclear radiations.
Okay.
You know, so there's a lot to unpack that people don't know. A hydrogen bomb is outlawed. Nuclear bombs are not outlawed. Nuclear bombs are prolific. Hydrogens are hundreds of times more powerful than a nuclear warhead.
Okay.
These aren't the things that, you know, in the 90s, holding the world hostage with one was a conceivable threat. They had enough to make over 10. And that's just what the people, the UN nuclear people, were allowed to see. So what were they doing behind the scenes? We have no idea, but we weren't going to wait to find out either. And if they start digging the people out, we'll put those people in there with them.
You said if they start digging them out. I hear you.
No, I'm serious. If they get close to those people, and if those scientists are still alive, they're not allowed to live another day. Look, I love what Ibrahim Torres does for Africa, but he should have stayed in Africa. The minute he went and offered his services and his people to the Russians, he went onto a world stage he knows nothing about and signed his own death warrant. He was told, along with the other gentlemen, go sit your ass the fuck down before you die.
Whoa, not too much profanity, my guy. Not too much profanity.
My bad. I wasn't expecting to be live or anything. I thought it was just a private communication between me and you.
Nah, we on live right now.
I apologize.
You good.
But if you want to be an African in Africa and make Africa the new Mecca, you're free to do so. The minute you go interfering with America's geopolitical landscape on the globe stage, you are applicable to death.
All right.
This isn't a game. Do you like 57 types of ketchup? I do. There has to be a loser for 57 types.
I hear you. Well, you most definitely got your facts down. I tell you that. A lot of people in the chat are agreeing as well.
Well, I appreciate all the people in the chat. Look, just don't be scared. America has entire physics departments that we have not written a white paper in 40 years on mathematics because the rest of the world is not entitled to it. The rest of the world, the Arabs, Algebrius, may have given us math, but they did not give us the missile defense systems.
Okay.
If they were better at the math, their missile defense systems would be much, much better. We built these things for $250 million 20 years ago, kids. We're going to spend $61 billion on new missile defense technology. Do you have any idea the difference?
Yeah.
It's voluminous.
That's crazy.
Right. And the kids that don't understand the math don't get to have the toy.
Already.
The S-400 missile defense system is a K-band missile defense system. That means the American driver in their car tracking the police radar is the equivalent radar system.
Wow.
Our toy model rocket enthusiasts put the world's missile capabilities to shame. Enthusiast, amateur, hobbyists.
That's wild. That's wild, man.
We have three levels of rocket certification in the United States. Level 1 is beyond most nations' capabilities unless we gave them the rockets and the capability in the first place.
Okay.
So no, there's absolutely nothing to worry about. A bunch of people, they say we lost Vietnam. We fought two nuclear superpowers, held them at bay, and cut them off from being able to leave the area. The same thing in Vietnam. We did the same thing in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now they're going to say, oh, you gave them a bunch of weapons. When we left, their men were wearing burqas, disguising themselves as women in the population. What could you possibly do?
Wow.
Now they're wearing uniforms that have infrared that we can see from outer space in valid military targets. And the money that we're going to spend to blow them up was more than we're going to have spent, more than we spent to build it, ship it overseas, occupy, use it for 20 years, repair it, and leave it. Because that's America. Our entire economy runs off of having better toys than everybody else. And like the F-15s, we'll blow up our own toys before we let other people play with them.
Already. So in so many words, you agree with us getting involved?
Without a doubt. I spent 9 months of my life, day and night, working on it.
Already. Well, I appreciate you calling in. Most definitely continue to tap in with me, man.
My pleasure. God bless you.
I like your point of view. Make sure you can subscribe to the channel, man, and continue to tap in with me. I most definitely like what you had to say. All right, bet.
Much love, everybody. God bless y'all.
All right, God bless you too. Well, he had some very valid points, guys. Let's get through there. Unless anybody else wants to call in and rebuttal what he said or agree with what he said, the lines are open. But we most definitely finna get through this last little piece of video. Shout out to everybody in the building. Hold on, I done turned the sound off. I sure did. Hold on, y'all. I can't hear nothing. I can't hear a thing. What is going on here? Okay, I see what's going on. Hold up, y'all. I still can't hear a thing. What is going on? We having some form of a technical difficulty, y'all. I guess I'm gonna have to go ahead and end it. I can't hear a thing. I don't know what's going on with the sound. Hey, man, I'll just basically come back here in a little bit, man. Shout out to the caller in, though, man. You most definitely. I know, and then it's still not playing. I can't hear nothing. Can you hear it? No, we can't hear nothing. So I don't know what that is. I'm supposed to be able to hear something. I can't hear nothing. You know, so therefore, I'm going to have to shut it down for right now, man. Shout out to the caller in. Shout out to everybody that pulled up. Hold on, let me end the poll. Because I can't hear nothing. All right. So I asked the question, do you agree with the attack on Iran by Trump? Out of 2K votes, 60% of y'all said yes, and 49% said no. So it looks like the majority of the chat and the people who viewed this content most definitely was in agreement with what happened, man. You know what I'm saying? The poll was not 50-50. The poll was 50-49, but close. So we split, you know what I'm saying? 1% more felt like Trump was in the right. So therefore, that's all we have to go on, man. Make sure if you're not subscribed to the channel that you subscribe. Most definitely double tap that screen, hit that like button. This is Everything News, and as they keep us aware of what's going on, I'll keep y'all updated on what's going on. This was most definitely Trump's speech at NATO, and a couple of things that he had to say afterwards, but somewhere we lost the sound, so I don't know what's going on, but I will most definitely be back. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out for anybody that sent the gift, anybody that hit that like button. Shout out to everybody that subscribed to the channel, the new subscribers as well as the old ones. Yeah, man, that poll was super close. You know, I appreciate each and every one of y'all, man. I'm going to try to figure out what's going on with this sound, and I'll get back with y'all later, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. I'm gone.